Hi. Today in the Business Unmuted podcast, I have with me Libana Jaja, a young woman who has founded a company called Recyco. Some of you might have heard about it. Some of you might not have even heard or known about an existing waste management company in Lebanon. Today, I want to make sure that you all know how it's important to focus on collection of waste and recycling of waste and even the upcycling aspect. This young lady has lived through several challenges, like any other entrepreneur. But the difference is that she started her business in 2020, in July 2020 to be more specific, which is 1 month before the Beirut port explosion. COVID time, financial crisis, economic volatility, all of the negative factors and the external factors that are beyond our control happened during Libana's time. What she did, she started renting a van. Later on, she bought three. She started collecting 5 tons a month. Today, she's collecting 400 tons of waste a month. I'm sure you're as excited as I am to know more about her journey, the challenges she has overcame personally with her team, how she started, and what's her vision for the future in a male dominated industry concerning waste management. Listen to us in these next few reels to know more about her journey. You're a woman entrepreneur, Libana, and you work in a sector that is known to be dominated by men, which is the waste management. And what I love about it is that it answers one of the most important sustainable development goals, which is the reduction of waste. You, as Libana, what pushed you towards that path? I would love to know more about this.
بتعرفي شو جيسيكا؟ After 17 years of experience in the waste management field ولأني كنت بعرف إنه there is a real problem and a real crisis that needed a solution ولأنه عندي هيدا الباجاج والoperational background ب very big institutions قررت إني بلش ريسيكو ما إجت بالصدفة. So بنينا system وهيدا السيستم proved that we can break any gender stereotype and we proved that results and success don't have any gender. So Jessica, مين قال إنه the waste management sector is dominated only by men? Look, it's proven that it can be led by women also.
What were the main barriers؟ شو هن التحديات يلي أنت واجهتيهم as a woman entrepreneur in your own enterprise? Was it access to funding, gaining more credibility as a woman entrepreneur, some big challenges related to the operations لأنه نحن بلد مثل لبنان it wasn't probably easy to open such an industry, especially in these very rough and tough times. Let me know more about that matter.
جيسيكا كتير كان في barriers رح أحكي عن 3 كتير أساسيات. Credibility was one of the most difficult barriers. كان علينا to be there to prove to everyone that we can lead and we can show results. 2, we had no access to any funding. نحن عايشين ببلد ما فيه banks وحتى لو أنت كنت شايفة الgrowth وحتى لو أنت كنت شايفة وبتعرف إنه في potential ما في عندك access لولا loan تقدري to scale. كل اللي عليك تعمليه إنك تحطي مصاري من جيبتك تتوصل للي أنت بدك إياه وتتكفي هدفك. 3 وهذا الشيء كتير مهم هو lack of rules and regulations لأنه هيدا قطاع منه منظم وكتير عانينا من unethical competition unethical practices.
Libana, Recyco collects waste. And there is a process that happens after the collection of waste. Can you tell us more with some details? What do you do? How do you collect the waste? And what do you do once the waste is collected and is sent to your company?
نحن فينا نعمل gathering لورق، كرتون، بلاستيك، wood, oil و electronic waste. For the institutions, we tailor recycling program and we do provide collection service to gather the generated recycled material من هالمؤسسات. ولكل الأفراد يلي بيعملوا recycling وما بيعرفوا شو بده يعملوا فيهم فيهم يجوا لعنا على our drop off zones ويستفيدوا من trash to cash program where they come bring their recycled material, weigh them on the spot and get redeemed. كلها gathered materials بيجوا لعنا على sorting plant نعمل لهم segregation و preliminary processing تصيروا raw material ready to be exported for plastic and for mills outside Lebanon.
هلا في كتير اشخاص يمكن عم بيحضروا عم بيقولوا لنا اوف waste management company and they know a lot about how to collect, how to process the waste after it's collected. But how do they make money? So let's be honest. Can you tell us if a waste company can lead to profit? Can this be a profitable business?
ليكي إذا كانت الانستتيوشن chaotic definitely ما رح تعمل revenues. بس إذا كانت الانستتيوشن structured and it's following a certain system, definitely it could be. وبآخر النهار it's not luck. It's about the operational efficiency. It's about the discipline that you get there. So you have to be aware of your numbers, of your operations, of your clients, of your marketing to get there. مشان هيك أنا for me on top of all this consistency and passion are key. ولأنه نحن بلشنا بفترة very critical بلبنان أخدتنا وقت نوصل للبريك even and we are now there. وهيدا الشيء بيفرجي وبيبرهن إنه yes waste management company can reach break even and can reach profitability.
What kind of support do women-led businesses in the green field, in the green sector, they still lack today? They don't have it yet, and they actually need this kind of support from this ecosystem. Can you tell us more about this?
Jessica, whether it's a woman or a man-led business, نحن كلنا قدام نفس المشكلة، والمشكلة بتقول إنه نحن آخر 2026 the landfill of جديدة يعني مطمر الجديدة رح يكون completely عم بسكر. So ما في visibility، ما في plan، ما في قانون بيقلنا نحن لوين رايحين. So what is needed now إنه نقعد كلنا على فرد طاولة نحكي and to communicate ونعرف وين رايح هذا السكتور ويكون في عنا visibility to sustain the waste management sector in Lebanon.
Libana, Recyco has been in the business since 2020. So you've lived all the kind of challenges and all the hurdles that Lebanon has thrown on us. And all of these have been mostly external factors. There is something I would like to know, and I think so many people would like to hear your answers to that question. How could policymakers, investors, or even maybe bank, though we no longer trust them, but for the time being, what do you think they can do or how they can support women-led businesses in order to remain sustainable in these difficult times?
Jessica, قبل ما نسأل how, we should ask why. محل حيلا investor أو محل حيلا bank رح يجوا يشوفوا ليه I want to support such a business. ليه I want to support waste management. رح يجوا يشوفوا إنه it's a woman-led company working in a non-traditional field. بلشوا صغار, they showed consistency, they showed discipline, and they showed scalability through real numbers and operational growth. So for the investors, كل اللي عليهم يعملوا to support projects and companies that are scalable at a national level. Now for the banks, إذا بدهم يرجعوا يستعيدوا ثقتنا مثل ما كنت عم بتقولي لي, what they have to do is to grant us loans at a very supported interest rate.
كتير أشخاص عم يسمعونا هلا وعم يسألوا طب نحن شو فينا نعمل تنساعد ريسيكو؟ أكيد the help could start from their own houses, right? On an individual level. So what would you say, or how can an individual help in terms of the steps that he or she needs to take daily in order to help reduction of waste in Lebanon? What would you say on that? What would you give them as call to actions? تعرفوا شو لازم يعملوا.
Jessica, thank you so much for this question. والcall to action كتير هين. For all the companies and institutions, كل اللي عليكم تعملوه إنه تخلوا recycling يكون part of your culture and part of your CSR. وكتير مهم to collaborate with specialized companies يعملوا لكم proper treatment and proper collection for your recycled material. لكل ال individuals you have to do a proper sorting and source. يعني لازم تفرزوا وتعربوا زبالتكم بشكل صح بالبيت، كرتون لحال، الورق لحال، البلاستيك لحال، وأهم من كل هول تعرفوا شو عم بيصير بزبالتكم ولوين رايحة. ولكل ال individuals اللي بيعملوا sorting at source ببيتهم يعني بيعربوا زبالتهم وبيحطوا recycled material لحالها، كل اللي عليكم تعملوا تتوجهوا على أقرب drop off zone لريسيكو يا بأبسات بيي يا عنا بالsorting plant على دورة تتحطون وتتأكدوا إنه عم ينعملون proper treatment and processing. بهيدي الطريقة كل هالinstitutions وهالindividuals مش بس رح يكونوا عم يعملوا diversification للrecycled material من اللاندفيلز ومن المطامر، بس كمان رح يكونوا عم بيساهموا إنه يعطوا هالماتريال حياة جديدة to serve as a raw material لكتير صناعات.
In my podcast, Business Unmuted, we heard Libana Jaja, the founder of Recyco. And we noticed that she was bold enough to see the problem that maybe everyone has ignored years ago, in 2020, which was a very difficult year in Lebanon. And she turned it into a solution. How? With her consistent mind, resilient thinking, determination, and mostly discipline. And an entrepreneur without discipline cannot reach far. She had it. She believed in what she was doing. She followed her dreams. And she was able to overcome so many barriers from funding to accessibility to credibility, and even to handling well her operational bottlenecks. She was able to find these solutions by herself sometimes because the government, we noticed, they lack some rules and some legislations. She pointed out how this country needs to come up with more policies to be able to support such green businesses to remain sustainable and not to lose such entrepreneurs. You know, from this podcast, I like to relay a very important message. When you see successful entrepreneurs, it doesn't stop you from being a successful entrepreneur. And you saw how she was overcoming all these barriers. Listen again to each reel, take the lessons learned and the best practices, and note that nothing is impossible.
Jessica, I want to thank you for your sweet words. I really enjoyed the conversation. On a personal level, I'm so proud to call you a dear friend. And on a professional level, I want to congratulate you on this podcast. To thank you for giving us the space for fruitful and meaningful conversation. Keep it up.